all blobby, and you just wonder, like, how is that holding together? Like, what is underneath that? What's keeping it up? Because by all laws of physics, gravity should be pulling that to the ground.
I hear you. I hear you. One would assume that their whole nightmarish hellscape of a relationship should take toll on one of them at the very least, to the point where they are aware that they need to stop this shit.
Oh, so I told another friend of mine they were back together, and she goes, "She's gonna end up pregnant."
Oh hell yeah!
and I was like, you know what? At this point, I kind of hope she does, because whether it's a slow burn, like, they need to learn a lesson, and I want them to hurt. Because
the petty is so real.
It's not even petty. This will help them in the future.
It's slightly petty.
Very. But I need them, because with that situation, neither one of them is anywhere near the point of being a stable parent. Adult, yeah, neither one of them. And if they can't do that, then they also have to go through the trauma of having an abortion. And so I'm just like, lessons need to be learned.
I would like to point out, like, I don't know this girl like that. I don't know her.
Pregnancy.
But a part of me feels like she's had an abortion already.
Oh, most likely.
The whole world is looking for you.
But
like, there's
no.
He probably hasn't gone through it yet. And I just can't imagine that, like, there's like, because I can't imagine that, like, she's never had a guy that mommy or daddy just did not approve of, and they weren't using condoms, and
well,
they
the
had
problem
to.
is like you look at both of their track records. Her last boyfriend, she dated for 4 years and didn't know he was gay, and his last girlfriend put him in jail. They don't have great taste. So they found each other and thought, yeah, this is what I've been looking for.
Like, she loves me all the way. Like, I'll never call that hope. And she loved my dirty drawers.
And,
like,
and remember, only a few days after breaking up with the previous boyfriend.
Yeah, like, who technically wasn't gay. He just like having stuff in his butt.
Delivered by other males.
I mean, how you get it in there is up to you. Oh, shit.
No, I was like, well, no, I told her, she was like, yeah, you're probably not gay, but, like, I at first also, she's not attractive, she's just a slut.
Yeah, that's why I want to see what this motherfucker look like. God damn, that's annoying.
You think you're cool? How's about I kill you and piss on your corpse for cool points?
Really? How? She's not attractive, she's just a slut. That's what makes her attractive.
Yes. But he's legitimately at this, he's really at this, I would risk it all for her point. And I'm just baffled.
Alright, that's not okay. I'm not. I mean, as a guy, yeah, like, we're incredibly stupid when it comes to females. For the ones of us out there who actually like, you know, women. But I would argue that it's not exclusive to guys who like men, because I've heard stories of gay dudes who just didn't know when to let somebody go. But I would argue that it makes sense more so for gay men because the gay population is a lot smaller than just the idea of like,
so,
you know.
The thing is like, I'm not, when I say like it baffles me, it doesn't baffle me. I fully understand. And I understand why. It's because she's the first person who is then willing to cut up for his
Shit.
absolute, yeah. And he found somebody that was willing to do that, and of course you don't want to let it go.
Yeah, of course.
And so he's sitting there, and he's like, I found somebody who understands me. Like, no, ho, you just found another addict who isn't as bad off as you yet, but feeds all of your worst desires. But the only positive that has come of this situation, for me at least, is that I am no longer his crush.
It means you don't have to drive all the way to Alabama.
Yeah, that dumb hoe. Well, honestly, that dumb hoe will be with him in the car too.
Completely lost. No idea where it's
driving. I don't know if you could hear just the exasperation and everything. I just started thinking about it, and I was like, oh my god. Right now, you know, I only have room for one crazy friend, and I'm doing my best to push her off onto a psychiatrist so that she'll leave me alone too. I'll finally have my peace back. Well, not necessarily, because, well, I mean, if he's dead, then yeah, I will.
Make your next move, if you will. You've already lost.
Like, I'm just assuming he wouldn't do anything stupid, but he did say that when she told him that it was probably over earlier, that he went out and bought a beer. Now, he hasn't had a drink in over a year. But he also only said it was one beer. So I'd assume he didn't go and get more. I would assume that he has better friends, specifically the one he's staying with right now, who was in the same room with him while I was on the phone with him. But maybe they're both dead.
You never truly know.
I mean, it happened before.
I gotta get to them first.
Maybe this time it took.
Hang in there, guys. I'm on my way.
Oh, hey!
What's up?
Well, good for him.
What do you say?
I just stepped in his bathroom for a second, and I noticed he cleaned the toilet. That's one thing I don't know how
She, well, it's because she nasty too.
Yeah, clearly. Maybe she was using freaking... Advertise her wipes were total shit.
That girl was wiping her coochie with Clorox wipes.
Yes, she was.
That's what.
Oh my God.
That's how you know the coochie rough. That's some rough ass cooch right there. You can hit it with Pine Sol and you don't feel it. Damn. But Fridging.
Legit, looking at her though, she would look like one of those girls when you look at her and you'd be like, oh, she smokes 2 packs a day. But I don't think she smokes.
Does she remind you of Chelsea?
Without the black scent.
Chelsea didn't have a black scent. Chelsea had.
I'm thinking. What did Chelsea have?
Chelsea was Chelsea had more of a Joy accent. She just was like, in my opinion anyway. Chelsea just sounded more deep Southern.
I mean, yes, you've heard her speak. Yeah. No, I was thinking Brittany. Nasty level. I was thinking Brittany.
Onley?
Damn it.
Yes.
You're breaking in from
I don't know who that is. That's just the only Brittany I could have thought of at the moment. Like, I know who she is, obviously, because we went to school with her, but I don't remember her, like, anything about her.
Uh-oh. Well, she had a black scent. I don't know who else I could put that to.
Where are you
Okay,
guys?
but fridging.
All right, so fridging is it's a literary thing. I personally don't agree with it. I don't think it's a problem, and I'll explain why as we get into this. It is. Oops. It is. How would I? How would I describe it? Basically, it's when you take a character and you kill off, usually a female, you kill off somebody important to them just to move their plot forward.
Yes, I know it well.
And a lot of people, like some chick came up with the concept of it, and she was like, "Yeah, this is dumb. Like, we shouldn't do this." And because like I think like the writer of one of the female writers of Deadpool came up with it, and she it was something that was like important to like the process of writing Deadpool. It was like, yeah, like don't use that in one of the as one of his plot points. Don't use another character as like.
I get that.
Okay, now I understand.
It means like senseless. It's practically just senseless violence towards women, just to promote a male plot. Like that's what she's getting at.
Yeah, but that's the problem. That's dumb. Like the idea of that is stupid. The idea that
It's not necessarily because it actually happens. It's a thing that happens.
Yes, but it happens for a reason. It happens for good reason. It happens because it's what people understand. It doesn't have to be like a female exclusively. If it is, then it is.
But if you always is.
Yes, because most but that's the thing. It's if you have a male character, it's usually a female because of heterosexuality. That's usually it. There's like the 3 things you can like take from a man his kids, his woman, and probably like a prized possession. Cause like in 50 Cent Blood on, yeah, and a lot of people, like some people pointed out like, well, John Wick is like that because his wife dies, and then they kill his female dog, and it's like, well, he wasn't mad because the dog being female was irrelevant. It was just the last thing his wife gave him. That's all he cared about.
Just keeping them out.
But the reason I think it's dumb to be offended by this is how people work. Like, people get emotional attachment to people, to living creatures. Like animals, dogs, cats, gerbils. If you take something away from someone, that's usually a good way to like truly draw their ire. And I was trying to say, like, in 50 Cent Blood on the Sand, this is gonna sound so stupid. He's doing a concert in the Middle East, and what ends up happening is the promoter can't pay him the way he's supposed to. So he offers him, so 50 takes this diamond encrusted skull off the dude's desk as a down payment. And he's like, when you got my money, I'll give you this back. And then somebody steals it from 50. And that's the whole point of the game, is 50 is just tracking down this character who stole this diamond skull from him, which he doesn't really have any rights to. Hold on. Okay. Which he doesn't have any rights to, because it's like the head of some dude's wife that he's kept, and for whatever fucking reason has had it encrusted with diamonds, and it's the dumbest thing. But at the same time, you're like, of course. And I was like, it's don't do that. Like, don't make it about it being a woman. It's a skull. It's a skull. It could have been a dog skull or a bear skull. It's a rapper wanting this thing cloaked in diamonds. Don't overthink it. And the idea of like it being Deadpool, like, yeah, you killed his wife, and it's like, well, this is like this. Like, if it was Captain Marvel and you killed her father, I also would have never thought to myself, this should be considered a problem. Why is this a problem? It's like, that's how people work. People see things, like, people are more important to people than things are to people. That's just how life is. Like, you can kill somebody's kids in a movie and, oh, how do I hurt this guy? Like, you can, like, kill somebody's kids and it'll have the same impact as, like, killing a guy's, like, fucking, like, wife. At least to me. And I'm personally, this is gonna hit the ears funny. I personally prefer they kill kids in movies. Now, I'm saying that because kids often don't die in movies. They just don't. If kids are put in like danger, it's super rare that the kid dies. And I think that sucks, because kids can die. If you look at Wanda, Scarlet Witch, 2 people had to die for her to get like this amazing story arc. Pietro had to die first. Like, that unlocked her power. And then Vision died, which gave her the ability to create WandaVision.
That unleashed her power.
Yeah. But the entire, who the fuck is this? But the entire thing is based around somebody, a man close to her, a person close to her having to die for her to get the opportunity to, do her thing. And I'm like, that's not a problem, right? Like, that shouldn't be a problem. Like, technically speaking, you fridged Pietro, because if you want to say, well, he had plenty of screen time. No, he didn't. He had equal amount of screen time as she did. And given that his whole thing was being so fast he was nearly invisible, no, he didn't. And I can't stress this enough. I didn't fucking care about Pietro. I didn't. Like, Wanda is like cooler than Pietro by a long fucking shot. Like, she is.
I actually quite like Pietro's character.
Oh, I'm not saying that he...
In cartoon.
Oh.
Quicksilver was one of my favorite characters in the cartoon. In Avengers, I mean, it was the same thing. Like, Scarlet Witch is, of course, awesome. And, like, I had high hopes for Pietro, and then they changed the backstory, and that's when I was just kind of like, yeah. No. Also, like, he got shot. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he didn't get shot. He just landed in front of a bullet. He just stopped moving in front of a bullet. That was a big difference.
Okay.
That's a big old difference. At least I consider it to be different.
Mm-hmm. So
and then he died.
It's also, like, that sounds like one of those situations where it's the same thing as with a lot of comedy. Comedy comes from sadness.
Yeah, tragedy.
And the same thing, and so the same thing with her power. Like, because ultimately, when you take the plot, not the plot, when you take the structure, which is also called the plot, when you take the history of plot and structure, ultimately, the oldest forms of telling stories are tragedy and comedy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A lot of the times, they cannot function without each other. So it's really just an ancient situation where, like, that something terrible needs to happen to progress the plot forward, or for some character to have this heroic moment. And the reason it's often women is because the same thing. It's hard to break habits. And for some reason, people still have not learned how to write without doing those things. Why? Because doing those things works.
Yes, because that's how people are.
So why would they? So why would they change it?
But the thing is that the problem isn't doing it. Like, fridging isn't a problem. And, like, I'm willing to, like, fight for this because it just isn't a problem. The problem is we don't have enough female protagonists that are written well enough. Okay,
Well, no.
Hold on.
No. The problem is that there aren't enough female protagonists that are written by females. Just like you said about American Horror Stories, if they had black people in the room while they were writing this, then the story would end up differently. If they had women in the room while they were writing female characters, then the story would end up different.
Or they could just, use common fucking sense, because most people know women.
Because it's Jesus.
But it's old white men. Like, it's male chauvinist.
Look, I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
Yeah, I'm saying it. It's male chauvinist. And the problem is, like, those are the people who write the shit. And, like, it turns into, well, men. And it's like, no, motherfucker. See, this is why y'all get called bitches. If you don't want those sweeping statements, don't make those sweeping statements. It ain't got shit to do with men. It's got everything to do with people who write the shit. And I would like to point out, they fucking killed. Well, oh, right. I forgot that was based on the true story. I was about to say, like, Changeling was literally this. I was like, oh, wait, no, that actually happened. Never mind. I genuinely forgot. Oh, God, don't do me like that.
Well, let's just toss this out there. So there's a thing with dramatic young adult shows from, like, the late 70s, 80s, and 90s, and probably early 2000s, where the promiscuous girl always died.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
And why? And why is that?
Ugh. Oh gosh. That's just how, like in horror movies, that's how it always works. In a horror movie, yeah, but it's not. But there's a trope. There's tropes to that, and I understand that, like there's. I mean,
it's become a trope, but initially it's set in that because it's improper for women to be promiscuous. Meanwhile, boys can go and stick it wherever they want.
Yeah, so that's
and
not.
They'll make it to the end.
Not in horror.
The virgin is the one who survives.
Yes, in horror, but like in horror, it's not. It's not. Okay, we gotta stop here. It's not exclusively females who have sex. It's anybody who has sex in a horror film, and it's anybody who does drugs or gets drunk in a horror film, and anybody who has the audacity to show up black will die. And that's how it is, because it's the idea of like the purest ones will survive, because the idea is to like,
girl.
Yeah, and it's weirdly enough, it's always the girl who survives. It's always like usually the girl or the child who survives. That's it. And I truly understand, like, it is a matter of what you would call like values that they are trying to push forward. And I think it's not a, and I don't think it's a bad, and I don't think it's a bad thing, because like, what morals do we have in 2021? There are no fucking morals. And so ultimately, like, if you don't have any morals, like, just shut up. Like, if you don't like the thing, because like these people want to have like a way to structure their lives and a way to live it, then don't enjoy the thing they enjoy. And if you want something, like, there's plenty of things that are designed around being fucking like awful. There are plenty of things.
Yeah,
not designed.
That's why I don't judge anyone for being religious. Like,
yeah,
I don't judge any one religion except for
Mormonism.
The ones that kill senselessly. No, Mormonism is one of my favorites.
I don't judge people who are Satanists or who, like, don't believe in God. But when you start, the one thing I have learned is, like, and this is my favorite thing, you can be Christian and they will make fun of you for being Christian. But as soon as you start picking apart their bullshit, they get really offended. And it makes my penis so happy. It's like, it's the best thing ever. And it's like, really? You that soft? You worship the god of the darkness, and you that weak? Great.
The thing is like, that goes both ways, because you can be Christian and then be roasted by other Christians for not being the right type of Christian.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
That's my problem with Christians.
No. So
like,
that's
okay.
and here's the thing I always tell people who say that phrase. The problem is Christianity it's not a race. It's a choice. Just like I play PlayStation.
But which one? Mine is always, which one's the right one though?
There is no choice.
They all claim to be the right one.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's humanism at its core. Everybody's right. You're wrong. That's how humans work. There is a select, a large chunk, but we're scattered across the globe where, like, we really don't care how you do whatever it is you do. Like, just leave me the fuck out of it. But it's the reason PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox have fans who will clash against each other. Or you have Nintendo fans who like specific games and think it shouldn't be like, it's not the thing they're involved in. It's the people. And that's very important.
Let's set this even closer.
Hold on.
WWE.
Oof. Nope. Next episode. Hold that thought. In the next episode, you're gonna get your feelings hurt. Until next time, we out of here. Peace.